Manifestation Pod. We are Louise and Sam, two ordinary mums living extraordinary lives through friendship, self-improvement, manifestation, the law of attraction, and a little bit of the magic. We look forward to you joining us on our fortnightly podcast.
Hey, hey! Good morning. It is Tuesday. We only did a pod last week, which feels weird, but you're here on the Manifestation Pod with me, Louise, and Sam is also here as well. Good morning, Sam.
Hi. It's no longer snowing, it's raining.
It is raining. It's absolutely, tipping it down. It has been all day.
Grim.
But
freezing cold as well.
It is really, I was going to say, but at least we're indoors, but I'm actually freezing. I've got a blanket around me, so that's not good. I have just put the heating on, so it might get a little bit warmer. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I've had a really good week, continuing on from last week's high vibes. They're still lasting, touch wood, still going. So yeah, I've had a really good week. A very busy weekend doing the yoga stuff. I had an open day at the yoga studio and really full class, so I'm on a bit of a high from that. It was brilliant.
Oh, fab. Yeah, we had a catch-up on Sunday, didn't we? So I know all about that. But yeah, that's really good. Get more people in the door. And I suppose with an open day, you get more customers from that as well, don't you? You get more people doing your yoga.
Yeah, so this week's one's like really close to full. So I'm actually thinking about putting on another time on the same night over the next few weeks.
That's exciting.
It is.
So doing 2 on Friday?
Yeah.
Love it.
I know. Awesome, eh?
I wish you were a bit closer to me. I was just looking for something to do. I want to do a sound bath. I was listening to another podcast this morning and they were talking about breath work. It was Fran's podcast, actually. She was talking about how she did a breath work session with somebody and how it made me feel afterwards. And it reminded me of when I did a sound bath in November and just, Zen wasn't even in it. I was comatose after it. I fell asleep during it, but was really so calm, and it was like I had drugs in the afternoon. It was really good. So yeah, I'm looking for something, but I can't find anything that fits in with the times I've got available. I'm still looking. Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out because I love all that kind of stuff. I am booked into a sound thing in February, but I think it's a Saturday, so I don't think it'd suit you, but I'll keep an eye out for a Sunday thing for you.
Yeah, do. I've had a good week as well. I had a great weekend. Again, the energy's really high, isn't it? So yeah, that's all good. I went to the gym last night. I did an induction yesterday, went to the gym last night. I actually recorded outside the gym a reel for our Instagram page. I've never seen myself looking so nervous because I was so intimidated going in. I just didn't want to. I just sat outside thinking, I'm paying for this and I don't want to do it. I don't want to go in. I don't want to set foot indoors. And, normally when you dread something and you go in and you feel better for it, I walked in, I felt worse. I've never seen so many men in my life in one place with they weren't even men. They were just like lads, probably early 20s, massive, really gym goers, all stood together. Oh, God, it was awful.
No.
But I did what I always do when I'm nervous. I take my glasses off so I can't even see properly. And if I can't see them, I feel like they can't see me. And I just found what are those machines called? Like a ski thing where you do your arms and your legs. And I just got on it for half an hour and had my back to everybody and didn't look at anybody. And I thought, I'm just going to do half an hour cardio and I'm going to go home. And I did. And I felt better for doing it, as in the exercise. I felt really good afterwards. But, I felt really intimidated. So, yeah, but I did it. I went.
Yeah, well, that's good. Are you going to go back? Do you want to go back?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I don't. I got stuck as well. My fingerprints aren't normal. Every time you use a fingerprint kind of entry system, it never works for me. I can never get in. So I managed to get in the gym eventually. I couldn't get out at all. So somebody had to help me out. And she was saying that she's never seen it that busy and she's never seen that many people We're outside peak hours. This was like 7:30 last night because I dropped Charlotte off at drama. Thought, oh, I'll do a little hour while she's performing. I'll go and do some work. So maybe on a Tuesday morning it won't be that busy.
Yeah.
And I think once I get confident with it, because actually doing the stuff I quite enjoy. And the guy who did the inductions gave me a sheet to follow. I'm very good at following the instructions. So I just ground all these machines and do like reps on each one. It's fine. But yeah, not my comfort zone at all.
But a good stretch, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I thought it's a means to an end. I can't run because I live at the top of a hill, and every time I go for a run, it kills me coming home. So it's just making me not want to go out running. And it's very weather dependent, that as well. So I just thought a gym is very useful for when I get a spare hour like I did last night, just being able to go without looking for a class online. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Nice. What are we talking about this week, Lou?
We are talking about my favourite subject, which is money, money, money. Oh my God, I'm singing on the podcast. Yeah, and it's not a rich man's world. It can be a rich lady's world as well. So yeah, we're talking about money. So me and you have had a bit of a conversation about this week. I think on Sunday we started talking about it. And I just feel that at the moment, there's a lot of coaches out there that are doing money mindset. There's a lot of people out there that are doing kind of diet and nutrition. There's people doing how to stop smoking, how to beat addiction. And basically, it's all the same. It's the same method to do anything you want, which is really choosing the life that you want and then aligning everything around that. So as far as money's concerned, and I've just done my finances again because it's the start of a year, and I've just kind of gone through them with a bit of a fine-tooth comb. And I've looked at my calendar, and again, I've started from some people start from how much money is coming in, how much money is going out. I never start from there. I start from what does my ideal week, month, year look like, and make sure my money is aligned to that, and make sure my calendar's aligned to that. I think I've spoke about this before on the pod. And when you do it from that point of view, it's a lot easier to do. So, for example, we talked about on Sunday where people have good intentions and they say, oh, I want to do this. I want to go to yoga one night a week. I want to go to the gym one night a week. But actually, if you look at the week, unless they've booked in those classes, what can sometimes happen, sometimes inevitably, especially when the weather's like this, you come home from work, you make some food, you slump on the sofa, you think, oh, I'll have a glass of wine because, I deserve it, I work hard. And before you know it, your evening's gone. And before you know it, your week's gone and your month's gone. And you're not meeting or hitting any of those. They're not even goals. They're just things that you want to do with your time. So I think a starting point for money is make sure that you're hitting those goals and you're looking at your calendar and going, yes, I want to do this, and making sure you're booking it in and then making sure you've got the money to pay for it. And it's kind of an easy win because if you're not spending money on takeaways and wine, you've got money to do things you actually want to do. So I think, yeah, I'm encouraging people to just start from there and look at what they want their life to look like and build it themselves. It's so easy. I see so much online about how difficult it is to manage money. And anyone listening to this knows that I've got like coaching clients, although I haven't at the moment. So might go, oh yeah, Louise, it's really easy for you to say, but I've been there. I didn't start this from I'm really good at managing money. I started it from being 30 grand in debt X amount of years ago and getting myself out of that, and then not being content with just getting myself out of debt, thinking, well, where does my money go? What am I spending it on? Why am I not seeing anything for my money? And then just doing more work on that and more work on that. And now I'm at the point where it is easy, and that's the easiest way to do it. Start from what is the life you want and work around that.
Definitely. That is the important starting point, isn't it? I guess it's all those emotions that go into it with money, isn't it? Because that was always what stopped me doing like these practical, easy things. I think it's like how you feel about it. But once you sort of get over some of the feelings about it, then it is really simple. I think I do a bit of that now, probably not as good as you at it yet, but definitely on my budgeting spreadsheet now have like my kind of wish list. So every time I think of something that I really want to do, it goes on like one side of the budgeting spreadsheet. So when I come to do it at the beginning of a new month, I'm like, oh, what shall I pick from there that like I'm really going to sort of put money towards this month or save for or do?
Yeah.
And that does
That's really powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because like that's the same budgeting spreadsheet, would you believe, that you started me on before I moved to Buxton all them years ago.
Wow.
It's been, like adapted over time. So yeah, it's just like thinking about it in a different way, isn't it? And thinking about what you want to do rather than feeling so I don't know, stuck by it, upset by it, annoyed by it.
Yeah. And out of control, like you're taking control of that when you do that. That's a really good idea to have that, the list of things that you're kind of working towards on your budget sheet. So you can, sorry, my phone's on silent. So you can work towards that when you're looking at your budget. Because as well, it's no good just, and I think I've spoke about this before, it's no good just saying to people, I'll save up. Like, for what? What are you saving for? You need something that really resonates with you to work towards. Because otherwise, what is the point? It's just, I'm saving money. And then you also feel you're not getting anything from it. It's all about, living the life you want and making sure your money goes to all those things and not the things that just happen because, I'm going to get a takeaway because I can't be asked cooking tonight or even thinking about, what we're going to make. And I think I've repeated all this before, but I was having a conversation with one of my friends months ago, and we were talking about making dinners for work. And she was like, I am not doing that. I am not standing in the kitchen making dinner at night like some kind of poor person. That's pretty much word for word. My friend Kerry, who I love dearly. And I said to her, I get it. I totally had that mind when I was younger. But now, if the amount of, particularly when I worked in Manchester, I used to spend an absolute fortune at lunchtime. I'm sure you were the same. But now I think about, if I didn't make lunches every day, I would spend maybe, I don't know, £5 to £10 a day possibly on whatever. And if you add that up and you stop doing it, especially if you do that, it would be such a good exercise to do. Like, stop doing it for a week or a month, put that money away, and then have a weekend away with it. And I said to Kerry, yeah, it is dead boring, but actually, if you knew you had a weekend away every single month, how bored would you be making lunches? And she's like, I'd be up like a shot in that kitchen. I wouldn't even care. And I'm like, exactly, that's it. You wouldn't care. You wouldn't feel like, you'd feel the complete opposite of a poor person, because you're doing it as a means to an end. You're not doing it because you're poor and you can't afford to eat at Starbucks or a sandwich shop. You're doing it because you're choosing to have a weekend away rather than spending your money in Starbucks or the sandwich shop. It's all about choice.
It is. The choice bit is so important, that like conscious choice, making a choice. And when you feel stuck, you don't feel like you have choices. But if you could just spend a bit of time to think about like what you really, really want, if all the rules were not in place, if none of the things that are holding you back are there, what do you really, really want? And work towards that, then that for me is like the key of getting out of that stuck place.
Of course it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's worked for you, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. And one thing that really changed my mind and the way I think about money was a couple of years ago now. I can't remember who introduced me to it, but it was a book or a podcast or something. And it was about focusing on multiple streams of income. And I remember at the time I was in that job that I hated. And I remember looking at it and thinking, like, how can you even do that when you're just in a job? Like, what does that even mean? But then the more I read, the more it started blowing my mind of like, up to that point, I'd always relied upon like a job and getting a wage increase at that job, or getting another job on top of that job to increase my income. And just thinking that those were the only ways that you could bring money in, basically. But then to have your eyes open to the fact that, there's limitless amounts of money out there, and there are lots of ways for you to bring that money to you. It's kind of mind-blowing, which it sounds so simple, but it wasn't then, because I really did not logically or like emotionally understand that.
Yeah, and I think that's a really common assumption that you get a job and that job is the means to making money for the rest of your life, and you can, like you say, you get pay rises or you get promotions, or you're just always chasing. And then what usually happens is as soon as you get that pay rise and that promotion, you're like, oh, I'll get a bigger Sky package, oh, I'll get a bigger car, and before you know it, you're chasing the next one because you know better off, really. Funnily enough, I'm reading at the moment and it's right at the bottom of my pile and I need to move it up because I've not read it for about 3 weeks, but I'm reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't think you've read that, have you?
No, I haven't. A lot of people have recommended it.
So it's all about that. It's about your upbringing. And I was definitely brought up in you get a job and you get a career and you kind of move up the ladder, and that's the only way, really. And I think any kind of entrepreneurship was definitely frowned upon as you need a proper job. That wasn't seen as anything proper. And certainly not as a way to make money to live on for the rest of your life. And that book is all about that, like how your upbringing determines your level of risk, your deciding factors on whether you are going to do something for yourself or work for yourself or have your own business, or you're just going to get a job like everybody else. And I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that do that because their parents had their own businesses. I don't see, well, there are people, obviously, I'm one of them, but there's not as many people that do it the other way around, that go from job to having their own business. I think a lot of people that have their own businesses because the parents have their own business, and so they know it's not that difficult. Whereas my mum, for example, probably wouldn't have a clue how to set up a business because she's never done it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a generational, there's generational ideas about working for yourself that just don't resonate with our parents' generation. So yeah, it's quite. I'll definitely lend you that book. It's so good.
Yeah.
I wish I'd read it when I was 17.
It does sound good. I have heard of it. I definitely want to read that. It reminds me of I did a money mindset training session through work last week, and we talked about this at the weekend. But one of the things that stood out was they asked for like a negative money story you had from childhood and a positive one. I can't remember the negative one, but the positive one really sticks in my mind because when I was little, my dad always used to say that, like, if there was any extra money, it was always like money from America. And it was just kind of, I think it's something that dates back to like our Irish heritage, and like people that went to America would send money back.
Right.
But it's like if there was lots of money coming in, or you were in a really good time of income, it was always money from America. And then the woman said to me in the training, she's like, your dad taught you manifesting with that phrase. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I guess he did. Like that sort of optimism and realization that like there's loads of money out there, so you're just waiting for it to be sent to you to find it. And it just, it really tickled me, that, because it's just one of those things that's always in the back of your mind that like your dad says, and you have sometimes in the back of your mind as well. But you don't really like think about much. And it led to a really nice conversation with my dad about it. And he thought it was brilliant. It taught me manifestation.
And that you remembered it, obviously stuck, didn't it? Because you remember it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it's probably the kind of phrase I'd only really say to my mum and dad if I was talking to them about it, because, it's like a family phrase that makes sense. But it's just really interesting, isn't it? The stories that you take through with you. So I think if other people are like stuck or, having difficulty thinking about where to start with this money stuff, maybe taking it back to basics and thinking like, what are the money stories you got from childhood, both positive and negative, and start looking at them and looking at some of the books you've mentioned, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Get Rich, Lucky Bitch, and all of that kind of stuff, and start looking at your money stories.
Yeah, and seeing if you can change that narrative that you've always been led to believe, and also some of the things you have been told. If you're going to think about them, and maybe some journaling, writing them down, also challenge them. So one of mine was from parents that you get a good job and that's your security. And really, and I can't think of any wording particularly, but anything other that wasn't secure and isn't secure. Whereas actually, the rich dad, poor dad tells you the complete opposite's true. The only security you've ever got in life is your own ability to make money for yourself. And I think from a young age, I was quite entrepreneurial. I had, when I was 17, 16, 17, 17, I worked with somebody who wore Christian Dior suits to work. And he asked me to take one to the charity shop for him one day or do something with it anyway. When I looked at they were like falling apart. When I looked at the lining, it was silk with navy blue silk with the Christian Dior logo on it embossed in it. So really nice, really classy. And I said to him, instead of taking it to a charity shop, can I have your suits? And he was like, yeah, what for? And I was like, I just want them. So I took them home. I made hair scrunchies out of them. And I sold Christian Dior hair scrunchies to anyone who wanted one for like £3 a pop.
Yeah.
And they were gorgeous. It took me like 5 minutes to do. And I think with me as well, I'm very good at having the ideas and doing it, but I get bored very, very quickly then. And I'm like, yeah, I'm bored doing that. I want to do something else. So then I went on to selling aromatherapy oils. I think I was about 18 at that point. Didn't know anything about aromatherapy oils, but decided I was going to sell them. So I started doing that. But I didn't have anyone to kind of guide me with any of that. And I think if you've got a parent that's had their own business, you could have got a little bit more of that. And I think the world's a very different place now. We've got the internet, we've got YouTube. If you want advice or help on anything, it's out there, isn't it? Whereas it kind of wasn't when I was that age.
That's true. I never knew that about you, selling those things when you were that age.
Yeah, I love doing it. And it wasn't to make money. It was because I liked sewing. Hair scrunchies are like the easiest thing on earth to make. It takes you 2 minutes to make one, and everything else in sewing takes forever. They were just pretty. I wanted one for me, and then obviously I had all this fabric, so I was like, yeah, I'll just make them and sell them. Money for the weekend. Wanted to go out to a club. I used to spend £60 to get in a club back in the day, so it was an expensive hobby going clubbing. 3 nights a week. So and anything to boost up my little office junior income was a good thing.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. I love it. I think lately as well, like what I'm beginning to understand is this like being in the flow of feeling really good about money and feeling abundant as well. I know we've talked about that quite a bit, but I think literally up until these last few weeks, I've never really felt it's that easy. I've felt it, but I felt like it's work, and I felt like it's going to go away and it's not going to last. And now I think I'm finally getting to a point where it feels like it's easy and it's going to last and it's going to be here forever. And I think a few things have like come together at the same time. I think maybe the like energy of this year, the yoga business, all the mindset work I did last year and stuff, and just feels like it's flowing, which is amazing to feel.
Yeah. And once you start in that, because I think everything's a cycle. Once you get into that effortless flow of money, you naturally start feeling better about money, and you do kind of start realizing. I think sometimes if you focus on it too much and try and make it feel effortless and easy, it sticks a little bit. It needs to absolutely come naturally. Yeah, once you get in that cycle, it does seem very easy. However, the complete opposite's true as well. Once you get into a cycle of limiting beliefs and you're trapped and you've got no money, that's the worst place to be. I've definitely been there. I've been there once in my life, and I'd never go back to that because oh God, it was awful. It does drag you down and make you feel like there's no hope almost, which is the worst feeling in the world. And there absolutely is. One phrase that my dad taught me pretty much about everything was something will always turn up. And he said it about really insignificant things, but he said it once about a really significant time in my life that was really bad. It was about having a baby. And he said, you never know what's around the corner, something will turn up. And it always does. It always does. Even when you're in, I look back to certain times in my life with money, and I've been in the like, oh my God, on paper. So when I I was married. It was a horrific marriage. It only lasted 4 months, and I ended up £30,000 in debt. And I couldn't do anything about it at the time. But maybe about a year or two afterwards, I was like, right, I need to tackle this. And I got a copy of my credit file, and it was 16 pages long, 16 pages just full of people who I owed money to. And it seemed at the time that I would never, ever, ever get to the bottom of that. I couldn't even earn the money that I was earning because, ironically, the job I used to do, which was, collecting money from people and heading up a collections team, I couldn't even get a job doing that because I had such a bad credit rating because that affects your employment. So it really seemed like a vicious cycle. But eventually, something just clicked in my head, and I thought, I've not even looked at this for 2 years. I'm looking at it now with a determination to fix it and do something about it. So why am I now worrying about it when I'm doing something? I've had 2 years of not worrying. I've had 2 years of burying my head in the sand, but now I'm doing something. Whatever I do has got to be better than nothing. So what is there to be scared of? I nearly lost the house. I lost everything apart from the house, really. I even lost my bloody furniture thanks to some tenant that I rented my house out to, who then decided to steal everything that was in here. Well, I'm saying here, it wasn't even this house. But anyway, so once you're in the cycle of gloom and doom, you absolutely stay in it. Once you're in the cycle of being able to make things better for yourself, you stay in that as well. So again, I'm making it sound really easy, but choose your cycle, choose your belief, choose your mindset, because you really can.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember the day I found or read that book about the multiple streams of income, and I must have been working with a coach or something at the time because they told me to put a reminder in my calendar every day with a sentence about the life I choose. And
Ooh.
it's still there now, and it comes up every day, and it was, I choose to live a life of joy and abundance. So even if the only thing you could do was to make a choice of what life you want to live and put it in your calendar and have it like keep coming up, like that is a little seed that's been planted for the changes that you're going to make.
Absolutely. I've just been, I don't know why this pops into my head, but I've just thought about Trainspotting, the film, and there's a line in it, choose happy, and you really can choose happy.
Yeah, you can. It's an active choice every day. It's, there's days when it's easy, there's days when it's really hard, but it is an active choice. And I sent you this meditation this week because I've been doing it every day for a week now, and it basically just repeats in different ways. Everything is always working out for me, and it's Abraham Hicks, which is like really famous books and things to do with manifestation and law of attraction. And it's just 10 minutes, but I think it's my new mantra. Everything is always working out for me, and I'm really going to keep that up because that is the kind of flow that I feel in, and I really, really want to keep that going.
Yeah, and I think once you've got that, so my entire life I felt like that.
Yeah.
I felt like I've been blessed my entire life, and I haven't. I do know that, but I've always felt like that. I've always felt like no matter what happens, it always works out for the best. I always come up smelling the roses, no matter what shitty situation I've managed to get myself into this time. Not so much these days, but definitely when I was younger, everything always worked out for the best. Even when things were really, really bad, I knew that something good would come of it, and it always did. And once you have that mindset as well, you almost start, even when something really shitty happens, being made redundant, things like that, there's always some lesson in it. There's always some better thing that comes out of it, and it's just a matter of looking for it.
Totally. Yeah, I really believe that. There's some good tools that I've started using lately as well to help with kind of budgeting and keeping on top of it. Because I love anything that's automated. So there's a tool called Snoop, which is an app where you like add all your bank accounts to it, and then it does all your budgets and checks all your bank accounts every day for you, and gives you loads of good insight into your bank account and your bills and everything as well. It's really good. It's a free one. And I think you can even get like a sign-up bonus of 10 quid or something as well. So I'd really recommend that if like the numbers and the practical stuff feels a bit overwhelming. Give something like that a trial as well.
Yeah, there's some good apps out there. So I'm the opposite to you. I don't like using apps when I can use, especially for money. I like using a pen and paper and a calculator. I work in finance. I'm quite old school, but also I feel that I'm doing something by not using that because I'm writing it down. We're all different, aren't we? So yeah, for people that don't like doing it my way, definitely go onto apps. I think Plum as well. Is Plum the one that I used this for a while? It kind of siphons off money from your bank account, does rounds. You can do roundups on your bank as well. But anything like that puts money into a separate account. I can't use that now because I'm so every penny's accounted for, whether it's savings, spending for joy, spending for necessity. So I don't have any roundup money because it's all accounted for, and every single penny that I get left over, if you like, goes into a savings pot. But it's good for people that maybe don't have savings and want to start it. It's definitely a good starting point, and it does. It's amazing how quickly it mounts up.
Yeah, it does, even just over a month,
Yeah.
And it's really easy to adapt as well. Like you can have it automate how much you want to put in it. Like it'll look at your bank account and say, I think you can afford £2 a week or £10 a week. Or you could just set an amount as well. So yeah, it is really, really good that actually. So yeah, the Plum app would definitely recommend. There's another one I was going to mention. Oh yeah, I've not done it yet, but I am about to start automating my investments. I started off doing little investments.
Yeah.
I'm just about to which is pretty much set up a direct debit, but the investment app makes it sound more exciting because it's about pies. It's
All right. Okay.
yeah, this is on the Trading 212 app. So yeah, I'm going to be investing regularly, every month from next month. So yeah, I'm quite excited about taking that step. So I've not really done any since I talked about it on the pod last year, really. So now I'm at a point where I feel good in the flow of money. I know that there's money that can be invested. I'm like, right, I'm getting on it because the sooner we start investing, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you have to keep me, well, not me, us. You have to keep us.
Yeah, let you know how my investments go.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds really good.
Yeah.
And that's really positive as well. If you think about where you were even a year ago, I was thinking about you yesterday. I was on Instagram and I saw a post by, is she called Nadia? Is that how you say Nadia? Nadia. I don't know. Swahala?
Oh yeah, like Loose Women and stuff.
Yeah, off Loose Women. I don't think I follow her. It just came up. But she was outside a home store and she saw this cushion that she wanted. And she was like, oh, I've just seen this cushion. It looks like an expensive shop, but you're not going to believe the price. The way she was talking, I thought it was going to be dead cheap. So it was this Afghan style cushion just that you put on the sofa. And she turned the price ticket around, £449. And it was what she said that reminded me of you. She was like, even if you had £1 billion, who the fuck would pay £449? And let me tell you, if this is you, you are mental. And I'm like, yeah, and it's all about. It's not even about the I don't know whether you can afford it or not. It's just about the sheer madness of the price of some things.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true, isn't it?
It wasn't even that. It was a nice cushion, but it was just a cushion.
Yeah, I know. Madness for a cushion. But then, if you think about if you live in your rich life and you loved that cushion, then
if you love it, buy it. Yeah, absolutely. It was a grey, fluffy cushion. There was nothing. If it had been I don't know, silk with some kind of Japanese, really beautiful thing, then yeah, absolutely. But yeah, this was just a great cushion that you could probably get in any high street, Next, Zara Home, anywhere like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about you in Alton Towers when.
Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah.
It's like a long time ago now, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah.
It really does. Yeah. That's the other thing with multiple streams of income as well. If it's too hard to think about where that might come from, go back to those episodes where we talked about the side hustles and, the bank switch, getting the money for those and doing all the little surveys and the game apps and, all those little things, because doing those little things definitely helped me to see that, like, you could just start to get money from loads of different places quite quickly.
You can. So when the period of time I was talking about before, when I had no money, I had to really think outside the box of where I was getting some money from, because I just needed like as much as possible. So I did things like, so even lazier than that, I rented out my drive. I used to get £7.50 a day for it, for just renting out my drive. I'm sorry, my computer is beeping like mad. To people who, I think because of where I live, they wanted to go hiking and walking, so they just parked the car there for the day. It would be safe because it's on someone's drive. There's an app to do that. It used to be called parkmycar.com, but I'm going back years. It's probably called something else now, but that's dead easy. And also, I wouldn't do this if I had a child, but I did it loads when I lived on my own years ago before I had Charlotte, renting out my spare room. Like, you can get £75 a week for that. And some people don't like the idea of living with other people. I've always loved living with people. I'd much rather live with someone than not, so it kind of worked for me. In fact, Ian Hulston, who we've had on the pod, he rented my room out for a period of time when he split up with his girlfriend. So yeah, there's loads of stuff like that. If you really, really started thinking about how you could make money, there's lots of things you could be doing. You might have a neighbour whose dog needs walking and they're quite happy to pay someone for it. It's amazing the people out there that are very time restricted, and I definitely used to be one of these people. I used to pay for everything. I had someone do my garden, I had someone do my ironing, I had a cleaner, anything I hated doing, I just used to outsource and be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So there are people out there that will pay for services. It's not even about setting up a company. You can do it on an ad hoc basis. But every time you've said about multiple streams of income, I've wanted to say this and keep forgetting. To be a millionaire, you only need 7 streams of income. 7 income streams.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's income streams. So you're probably not that far away.
Yeah, exactly. Probably not, especially if you start my investment things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one more. So yeah, if you actually added up all the different things, you're probably not that far away. And if you start thinking like that, so for you, Sam, I don't know how many you've got, but I'm going to guess 4, top of my head. 4's not that far from 7, is it?
No, it's really not, is it?
Once you start thinking like that, you'd be like, well, actually, maybe I could do something else that isn't that time consuming, and then if you started growing each thing individually or venturing out, you don't know where that's going to go. But by having 7, you've got a lot more chance than having just 1.
Yeah, exactly. You get really close to it then, don't you? And yeah. And, because I'm opening up some more streams of income with the yoga and stuff, mad things are happening. So this like quick manifesting, we were talking about this at the weekend, weren't we? It's still happening. Like there's one class for March that I've set up and not even advertised, and someone's booked onto it already.
Yeah, when you told me that, I was like, that's crazy.
I know. There was like no way of finding it. So it just, that really blew my mind. So I think if you open up these ways of getting income to you, the universe will deliver. So open up your streams of income and wait for it to come.
That seems like an excellent place to end.
It does. So we hope you enjoyed money. I think I'll actually put a lot of these things that we've mentioned in the show notes so people can find the books and the tools and stuff quite easily, because we mentioned quite a bit there, didn't we? So have a look in the show notes for any books or tools that we've mentioned, and we'll link you through to them. But thank you for listening. We'll see you next week if we're doing a bonus one. If we get on our weekly schedule, we shall see. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Manifestation Pod with me, Sam Fillingham, and Louise Marshall. Please follow, subscribe and rate our pod. Share with friends to support two ordinary mums living extraordinary lives.